It looks really good.
I'm getting it trimmed.
Okay, we're live. All right. Good evening, everyone. We are December 8th, so we're getting close to Christmas. And there's a lot of things that happen this time of year. So, and there's a lot of emotions that run high this time of year, and a lot of, crazy thoughts and crazy things go on in ourself. So, as we go through this Christmas season, let's be real about what it is. So, what is Christmas? For some people, it's the birth of Christ, right? So, if it's the birth of Christ, why do we spend so much money and time on giving gifts to people that sometimes we don't even see throughout the year, right? Or we may see them, but we're not very nice to them. Or, so let's be real, okay? Don't pressure yourself in this whole season. So why don't we just take this season to be kind, first of all, to ourselves? Be kind to yourself, be loving to yourself, so that you can be kind and loving to others. Stop thinking about, oh, it's Christmas and I got to spend this on this person and that on that person and, da 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 da. Or some of us may have lost some people during this time of year. It's okay. See, you have to get into, well, you don't have to, you can stay in the chaos of your own mind. But if you want peace inside yourself, we have to get to a point where we have an understanding that things happen outside of us. It's outside of us. And the only thing we can do anything about is ourself. We have to look inside ourselves. We have to do ourself. My friend says, do you, right? Do you. If you do you, then the things around you start to change because you're paying attention to what you're doing. What are you doing? What are you doing inside of yourself? What are you telling yourself? Are you spending time in the past and creating suffering inside of you? Because that's what that does. When you spend time in the past, it creates suffering inside of yourself. And what good is happening there? What good is it? There isn't. It isn't good. It just creates suffering inside of you. Hopefully you learn from it as you come out of it, because what happens is we go into it and then we come out of it. We always do. That's the way it works. But you can come out of it very quickly. There's steps that you take, and I go over them every single week, twice a week, right? Every single week, twice a week, I go over the steps that it takes for non-suffering, to get out of the suffering. First we have to go through, okay, good evening, Kathy. First we have to go through the four things. What? The truth. The truth is there is suffering, right? The truth is there's a cause to suffering. The truth is we can get out of the suffering. Now, how do we get out of the suffering? We have to go through some steps, right? First of all, we have to be truthful to ourselves. We have to tell ourselves the truth inside ourselves. So during this holiday, you have to be truthful inside of yourself. If you start to feel anxious, if you start to feel sad, if you start to have suffering, you have to tell yourself the truth. Because it doesn't matter what anybody else tells you. If you're telling yourself a lie, then you're not going to get out of the suffering because you're staying in the lie. Right? So you have to start telling yourself truth inside of you. Sometimes we have to have, or 9.9% of the time, we have to have a conversation with ourselves, inside of ourselves. It's got nothing to do with anybody else. And so don't blame it on anybody else. Don't start saying, oh, I got to talk to this person about it. I got to call this person. I got to feed. No, you can do this inside of yourself. How do you do it? You tell yourself the truth. So when you start to suffer and you're going, oh, I'm sad or I'm angry, those are two suffering, big suffering, sad, anger, frustration, resentment. These are all suffering. This causes a suffering inside of you. So when you start to do that, you have to say to yourself, why am I feeling like this? And then you have to say the truth. And most of the time we tell ourselves we don't know, right? We say, oh, I don't know why I feel like this. Well, yes, you do. But you're so used to telling yourself the story that you don't know, that's your fallback. So you go into, oh, I don't know. Well, then you have to figure it out. Okay. So you have to look at it. What is it that's making me sad? What am I telling myself inside my own mind? What am I saying? That is a truth. You have to find the truth inside yourself. No one else is going to be able to do it for you. You have to do it for you. I'm teaching you how to be independent inside your own self. Because none of us are going to stay in this world forever. None of us. So we have to have an understanding on how to rely on ourselves and be inside ourselves in peace. So the first thing is you have to tell yourself the truth. And I mean truth. Sometimes the truth is not easy, right? It's not easy to admit to yourself that you're saying something inside of yourself, creating your own suffering. So you have to be truthful. What is it? Oh, I'm telling myself this. Oh, is that a truth? So I'm going to try to give you an example. So say that can I use yours? Okay. I'm going to use Anna's little scenario. So there is sometimes that we get upset about what we think is someone else. Okay. We think it's someone else. So she thought she was angry about somebody else doing something to her, right? But in reality, she had to go through several scenarios inside her mind why she was angry. And then as she went through it, she figured out that she had to give. She had to give something in order to find the peace inside herself. I'm going to give another scenario because I don't want to say really yours. Okay. So say we have something that we like a lot and someone has taken it. And then they put it back and we find it again. And then we're afraid that they're going to take it again. So we're blaming them for taking it in the first place. But in reality, if it's back, right? If it's back, over and done with, and not even in existence now. And then we're creating an anxiety, a fear, a resentment, right? All over an object that someone may or may not take again. So if you take that object and you give it to someone, you no longer have that anxiety. You no longer have that resentment. And what happens when you do that is you freed yourself of an object that means nothing. Yeah, an attachment that means nothing. It means nothing because we're not going to take anything with us when we leave this world. We're not. And so If we attach to things, it can create that. And I'm not saying don't have nice things. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying if you were to lose one or if someone were to take it, it's okay. I can tell you one year at Christmas, my father and I, this is a true story. My father and I went shopping, Christmas shopping. And we had gone, to the mall. The mall was open then. It was a lot of shops. I was younger, and we had gone shopping, and we went shopping for my mother. Okay, and we got her an expensive pocketbook and I shoes to go along matching. And then we had it in the car, and then we went to the hardware store, which was over in downtown Fredericksburg. It's not there anymore, but it was there. And so we went there and we did some shopping in there. We came back out of the car, out to the car, and all the packages were gone. Somebody had taken all the Christmas presents that we had bought. And so at that point, we got upset, right? I was young. I wasn't in the state of mind I'm in now. We got upset and we had to go buy new ones, and it was just, anger and everything. But what if we had turned that around and said, someone else is going to have a good Christmas? How beautiful. I'm sorry they had to steal it because we could have given them some, But what if we turn that around? If we turn that around and thought, good, they're going to have a good Christmas. The fact still remained, they took the stuff, whether we were angry about it or not. The stuff was gone. It didn't change because we got angry. Nothing happened except for we created suffering inside ourselves. But if we had turned that and said, okay, they needed it more than I do. It's okay. Let them have it. We created peace inside of us. And we would no longer have that anger and resentment and frustration. We were fortunate. We could go buy new, presents and be okay. Whereas, those people, obviously, they didn't have the money to buy their own presents. So it's all in the way you look at things and you think in your mind. We tell ourselves things in our mind, and then we think it's a truth because we're having a conversation in our mind. But most of the time, the conversations we're having that's creating suffering are not truths inside. They're stories that we're telling ourselves about a past or a future that isn't real. It's not real. It's already happened, which means it's not happening now. Or it hasn't happened, which means it's not happening now. And when we do that, it creates suffering. So the only way to get out of the suffering is to be truthful with yourself. The truth is here and now, what's happening in this moment in time. What's happening? Well, I'm talking, everybody's listening, Some people may not be listening. It's okay. They might be in their own chatter. That's all right too. But if you tell yourself the truth, you bring yourself to this present moment in time, right? You take yourself out of the past or out of the future and you bring yourself here. And then you can create the balance inside of you, right? By telling yourself the right view, right? Oh no, the truth is I'm right here. I'm not there. That's not happening right now. This is what's happening right now, right? The right view, the right thought, the right livelihood in giving something to someone. I read something today and I shared it with the group, and it was Katharine Hepburn, and her father had gone to a circus, gone to see a circus, and in front of her, as they were standing there, were a family with 8 children, 8 children, and they were well behaved, but you could tell they didn't have a lot of money, but they were well behaved and very excited, chattering about, oh, they get to see the circus, and this was the first time they got to see the circus. And the mom and dad were just, the mom was looking at the dad like he's her knight in shining armor, right? Well, he gets up to the ticket counter and he says, 8 children and 2 adults. And the lady behind the counter told him how much it would be. And he said, can you say that again, right? And she said it again. And you could tell that the man didn't have the money to pay for all of the tickets. And tears started to well up in his eyes. And he didn't know how he was going to tell his children, who were so excited that they weren't going to go to the circus. So Katharine Hepburn's father drops a $20 bill on the ground and then reaches down and picks it up and says, sir, I think you dropped this. And the man knew what he was doing. And he took both his hands and squeezed his hands in that $20 bill with Katharine Hepburn's father's hands and said, thank you, thank you. And so he bought his tickets for his 8 children and his wife. But Katharine Hepburn and her father went home because that was the money he was going to use to take her to the circus. But he gained so much more, and so did Katharine Hepburn, because she wrote about it. They gained so much more by giving without expectation of anything in return. See, that's what giving really is. If you give and you tell everybody you're giving, that's not really giving. That's an ego boost. That's right. Or if you, give and expect something in return, that's not really giving either. But if you give without expectation, see, without expectation, our parents do that for us, they had us. Of course, they may have had a little expectation. Maybe they thought we'd be good, or maybe they thought we'd be bad, who knows? But, they gave us life. So we owe them respect, right? But that we don't have to suffer when they suffer. We don't have to do everything as we become an adult that they want us to do, but we have to give them respect. That's what we give them without expectation of anything in return, right? That's respect, loving kindness towards your parents. So all this, I'm trying to help everyone have an understanding of how to understand themselves, how to have peace inside of you. And the only way to do that is stop looking outside of yourself and start looking inside. Start taking pieces of yourself that don't serve you and just letting them go. Find the loving kindness inside yourself for yourself. You have to give an effort. See, this doesn't happen without giving an effort, right? Mm-hmm. Like you all made an effort to come here tonight, yes? Anna came here. Anna comes here twice a week to help me do this. That's an effort on her part, right? I come here twice a week to do this. That's an effort on my part. See, if I didn't give an effort, none of this would be happening, but we give an effort and that creates something inside of us. So you have to give an effort inside of yourself. And you have to give the right effort. It can't just be an effort and you say, okay, I'm going to give an effort, but it's not really an effort, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes we say we're doing things and we're not really doing things. We're saying we're doing them, and we go through the motions of doing them. Like when we say, okay, I looked inside myself, I had a conversation, and I couldn't figure it out. That's a story you're telling yourself, and you're not giving it the right effort. Yes. Yes. Anna said usually at that point you're saying it for someone else. You're not really doing it inside yourself with the right intention. So you have to, like, this is really important. See, and back when I used to sit with Master Boomni, he would say things like, okay, I'm going to give you these things, right? Such a tum, right? The truth, the truth, the truth. Tell yourself the truth. This is what he was saying to me, right? Tell yourself the truth. Always be truthful inside of you. See, and it's funny because when you do these things inside of yourself, it automatically, you do them with other people. It's automatic. Because if you're telling yourself the truth, you're not going to be lying to somebody else. You're going to be telling yourself the truth, which comes out. This is the way it works, right? Patience. Candy. Have patience with yourself, but be truthful to yourself. Don't criticize yourself, just be truthful. Like, you can be truthful without telling yourself you're stupid or dumb or whatever. You don't have to do that. Just be truthful. The truth is you're not stupid or dumb. That's a story. That's not a truth. Be truthful to yourself. Be patient. Be kind, right? Give it an effort. And then you have to balance it all, right? You have to balance it. You can't like be extreme one way because what goes up has to come down, right? So you can't all of a sudden be in this hi, I'm good, everything's great, and then no, have a balance inside yourself. And how the balance comes is because you're doing all these things, like you're telling yourself the truth, you're having the right view, the right speech, the right livelihood, the right thought. Speak ill of yourselves, right? Don't speak ill of yourself. We've lost connection. It's okay, it happens. There we go. I think we're live again. Okay. Don't speak ill of yourself or others. Be kind. Have kind thoughts. Have the right view. Don't judge, right? If you're judging somebody else, you're really judging yourself. So all these things, if you do them and you do them minute by minute, right? Like you can't, if you do it once a week, what's happening the rest of the week? What's happening the rest of the week? You're having all kinds of crazy, right? So you have to do it minute by minute. Take a check on yourself. What am I thinking right now? How am I feeling right now? Tell yourself the truth. If you're starting to get angry, oh, I don't know. Yes, you do know. You have to tell. We lost connection again. It's all right. It'll reconnect. It happens. This happens when I start giving something, whenever I start talking about something that everybody really needs, the internet always cuts out a little bit. So if you're telling yourself, okay, I'm anxious, good. Tell the truth. You're anxious. Why are you anxious? You have to ask yourself this question. Why am I anxious? I don't know. Yes, you do know. What thoughts are you having? See? You have to tell yourself, okay, what thoughts am I having and not paying attention to? They're just running through my head and I'm creating this. See, I'm telling you, and hopefully somebody out there is taking notes, because if you do this daily, if you do this minute by minute, you're not going to have suffering. You're not going to have suffering right now. How am I feeling right now? Okay, I'm good. I feel good. Oh, I'm starting to feel a little anxious. Why are you feeling anxious? What thoughts were going through your head? What thought did you just have? Now you have to be truthful with yourself. You cannot tell yourself a story or you'll never get to the bottom of it and be free. This is a way for freedom of peace of mind. You'll be free to have peace inside yourself. This is the only way I know of to have it. And if you do these little steps, it takes effort because you're so used to doing the other. And that's all it is. You're just used to doing the other. You'll get used to doing this, and then it'll be second. And then all of a sudden, you'll see things so differently. And it'll be beautiful, and you'll live in that. So if you take it minute by minute by minute and pay attention to what is going on inside of you, not what's going on inside of someone else, right? Not your sister, not your brother, not your husband, not your wife, not your son, not your daughter, you. What is going on inside of you? Because when you do you, the world around you changes. I'm speaking truth. I know because I've done it. I don't say anything that I don't do myself. And I don't tell you things that I haven't experienced myself. This is a truth. So every single minute of every day. Now, that's an impossible feat, really, to do it every single minute, when you're starting out. Right. When you're starting out, your mind will wander and you'll be like, oh, where did I just go? And let me bring myself back. So you have to practice at it, right? Give it the effort. The effort is practice. You have to practice at it and you have to do it for yourself. Okay? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Tell yourself the truth. Tell yourself the truth. Be patient, be kind, be loving. So once you tell yourself the truth about what's going on, what chatter you're having, and why you're having it, the truth is you're having it for no reason but ego. That's the truth. If you have another answer, well, write it down and tell me about it, because the truth is whenever we go into any kind of suffering, that is your ego, period. And you can say it's something else, but you're not telling yourself the truth. Whenever you go in, I'm going to repeat it again because it's a truth. Whenever you go into any kind of suffering inside your mind, inside yourself, it's your ego. So look inside yourself because it's not outside of you. If you are suffering, it's inside of you. So you have to look inside of yourself. It's not somebody else's fault. You're creating the thoughts inside your mind. And so whatever suffering you're having, it's a thought that you're having inside of yourself. And it could be a thought about someone else, but it's really the thought that you're having that's creating the suffering. And I know this is a hard concept to get, but it's a truth. And if you can get it, you can stop and find out inside of yourself why you are suffering. So what are you telling yourself that is creating suffering? It's something to do with the past, or it could be this present moment. But if it's this present moment, what is it really? What's going on that you're suffering? So you're having an argument with somebody. Oh, what is that? That's ego. If you're arguing with somebody, that's your ego. All of these things point right back inside yourself into the ego. If you let go of your ego, and what is ego? It's just the chatter inside your mind. It's just the chatter inside this mind. When you let go of that and come into your heart, which is the mind, really, the heart mind, and start giving loving kindness inside your soul to yourself. Loving kindness. When you start to do that and let go of anything that does not serve you, and start telling yourself, oh, you know what? I am a beautiful soul, right? I am this kind person inside myself. Start generating that inside of you and watch all that stuff just fade away. It'll fade away, but you have to be truthful inside yourself. So when we do that, you'll start to grow. You'll start to grow in ways that you can't even imagine. But it takes effort. You have to go back and I call it begin again, right? We begin again. We did a retreat one time and we did walking meditation and um, I didn't really give a time on how long we were supposed to do it, right? But all of a sudden everybody stopped but me, right? And the purpose of it was to be mindful in the steps that you're taking. Don't rush, just be mindful, go up and walking meditation, right? Foot up, moving down, right? But it was like a race almost. Everybody finished and sat down, and I kept walking, right? But when we got done, they were all mad. They were upset because I said, "Oh, did y'all already get enlightenment? Did you get it? Everybody got it?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "Well, why did you stop?" And they're like, "Well, you didn't tell us how long to go, so we just." And I said, "Well, then you get to begin again, right? You get to begin again." And they began again, but they weren't happy about beginning again until they worked through it as they were walking, right? They were walking, they worked through it. Their anger started to dissipate. And by the time they got finished, they came back and they sat down. And, I asked them, truth, how do you feel? Well, at first I was mad, I was angry. But then they began again. See, every minute of every day, we get a chance to begin again. We get a chance to do it over again. We don't have to stay in whatever it is suffering that we have. We don't have to stay there. We can just begin again. Let it go. Let it be. And as we do that, we'll get used to doing that. See, in this world, we've gotten so caught up in the world, in what's going on outside of us. We forgot to pay attention to what's going on inside. This world will drag you out into it, right? And it'll feed you all kinds of garbage. And we eat it. But we don't have to eat it. We can be in peace inside ourselves just by looking inside ourselves. Being honest with ourselves, being kind to ourselves. Looking at how we're viewing things. What are we speaking inside our own mind? What are you speaking to your mind? Pay attention. You're the creator of your world. What you speak inside your mind, I don't know if you've noticed, but it tends to start happening. As oh, I know this is going to happen. This is going to happen. And, oh, sure enough, it did. And then you go, I knew that was going to happen. Well, of course it did. Because you kept speaking it over and over and over again. I tell everybody that I teach, be careful what you speak.
And I was like so surprised I didn't even react to the accident because I was like, this is happening. I just spoke this.
I don't know if you can hear Anna. I don't think you can. So I'm going to tell you what she said. She said a perfect example was she had never been in a car accident. And she was thinking inside her own mind, oh, I've never been in a car accident. I wonder what it would be like or whatever if I get in a car accident. That very day, she got into a car accident. Mm-hmm. See, if we aren't paying attention to the chatter that we have, we're creating our own world. We're creating things. And it's not happenstance. It happens because we're thinking about it and we do things. When we think about things, we do things. that whether you know it or not, if you're thinking it, you're going to be doing something to create that. That's the way it works. If we're thinking about something good, we can create something good because we do the things that will make that happen, whether we know it or not. It's not a happenstance. The more you think about something, the more it tends to come true. Why? Because when we're thinking, we're acting. And the actions that we're taking are creating what's going to happen, right? Every action has a reaction. That's the way it works. So if you are in your own mind and you're thinking negative things and you're thinking, oh, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, well, you're doing things whether you know it or not. You're doing things to create that in your world. And then you go, I don't know why this always happens. Well, what are you thinking about? Because you're walking yourself through it. You're creating it. It's not an accident. So I say all the time, be careful what you think, or be careful what you wish for. It's all the same. It's all the same. Because the more you think of something, you're actually doing things to create that, whether you are aware of it or not, because you think thoughts you're not even aware of thinking, right? That's why I teach you guys, think about what you're thinking. What are you thinking? I say to you all the time, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Is it a truth? What are you thinking? You have to pay attention because that is creating what's going to happen in your world. It starts with a thought. So I'm giving you all these things, all these tools, and hopefully you will use them. So, and I've said many, 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 many times, you have to take care of you first. You have to take care of you first. It's a truth. You cannot take care of someone else if you're not taking care of yourself. How can you tell someone else how to do something if you're not doing it yourself? Doesn't work like that. It doesn't work. So in order to do it, you have to take care of you. You have to be kind to you. You have to work on you. You have to and pay attention inside yourself. It's a daily thing. And I'm saying this a lot because I'm going to tell you something in a few minutes. And I want you guys to have it, to be able to use it. So as you go through your day, if you pay attention, you can make your day beautiful. It all depends on what you do. Like I get up in the morning, I do a meditation, I do some yoga stretching, I'll cook my brother and his wife breakfast because I want to give a little love and kindness first thing in the morning, right? That's why I do these things on purpose. They're not happenstance. I get up and I meditate because I'm giving myself loving kindness right away. Right away when I wake up, I'm giving myself love and kindness. I think about all the things that I'm connected to in this world, right? So we're connected to everything in the world. We're made of everything in the world, right? Everything is everything. When you breathe, you're breathing in air that is part of your whole body, right? That is you. You are the air. You are the water. You are the earth. You are all of it. When you feel the sun on your face, it becomes part of you. So if you know this, you can just say to yourself, I am part of everything. I'm never alone. First of all, you're never alone. See, if you know this, you're never alone. People say, oh, you're not married? You don't have a boyfriend? Oh, aren't you lonely? No, I'm not. I'm not because I'm never alone. I'm part of the world and the world is part of me. All of it together. We're all together. So if you tell yourself this and you know it inside of you, you're never alone. It's a beautiful thing, right? So if you take care of you, you also are taking care of everything else. Crazy way to look at it, but it's true. And the more you do you and you take care of you, now I'm not saying be selfish, okay? That's a whole, that selfish is an ego thing. But loving kindness, taking care of yourself in loving kindness. Knowing what you're thinking, knowing what you're doing, understanding, okay, if I have this thought, what is it serving? What purpose does this thought serve? If you cannot answer the purpose that it serves, you better let that thought go. When you speak something, now I'm saying this and I need you for it to resonate inside. When you speak something, you need to ask yourself, what I'm speaking, what purpose does it serve? Is it for good or not? If it's not for good, you better not be speaking it. Because what you speak comes back in. You're not just speaking it out, you're speaking it inside yourself. So what are you creating inside yourself? So these are things, I'm giving you things to ask yourself, right? I'm giving you things to ask yourself. Not ask someone else. This is you. We're doing us. We're doing ourselves. This is a class of self, doing self, and learning how to be at peace inside yourself, not how to make somebody else in peace, because you can't. You can only do you. So if you're doing you and you're saying to yourself, you get ready to speak to somebody. Sometimes we get ready to speak and we don't think before we speak. That's not good. Not good. I know I see a lot of that, and I sit in quiet when I do, because there's no reason for me to jump in the middle and have all that marinate inside of me. So no, I don't need to be in that. And you can do the same. You don't have to respond to someone else's talking. You don't have to. You can sit inside of you and just have loving kindness inside of you. Wish them well inside of you, right? But if you're going to speak, you need to say to yourself, is what I'm speaking generating love and kindness? Or is it generating suffering? It's going to do one of the two. So when you speak from your mouth to someone, what are you speaking? Why are you speaking it? Ask yourself that question. Why am I speaking it? And when you answer it, see, this is going to eliminate a lot of arguments. If you do this, it will, I promise you, it will eliminate so many arguments. Because first of all, you can't argue with yourself, right? Well, you can, but if you do this, you can stop the fighting, stop the chaos inside of you. Because that's all you can do, right? You can only do you. So you think inside yourself, is what I'm about to say going to be kind or not? Is it going to serve or is it going to hurt? And make the right choice inside of yourself. See, we've been taught in this world not to do that. We've been taught that if someone says something bad to you, you got to get that dig in. You got to respond to it. They can't treat me like that. Oh, they're not treating you like that. It has nothing to do with you. They're treating their self like that. It's got nothing to do with you. If you know this inside of yourself, so many times, people are going to say stuff and you can, inside of yourself, you'll be like, that has nothing to do with me. Look at that. And don't say it out loud, just say it inside of yourself. That's not about me, that's about them. I'm going to generate loving kindness. And what happens a lot of time is when someone is angry and you generate loving kindness, that anger softens. That anger starts to go away. I've done it a lot, so I know it works. Now, you can't be like, oh, I love you because you're being an ass, right? No, don't do that, because that's not loving kindness, right? That's not loving kindness. You have to be like, oh, I'm sorry that you feel like that. You're hurting, and I'm sorry you're hurting. See how that feels? That feels good inside when someone says to you, oh, I'm sorry that you feel like that. You're hurting inside. I'm sorry that you're hurting inside. I want to give you some loving kindness. See? That's a whole different story. Then people start feeling that inside. Now, you can't say that to a stranger, right? I mean, if a stranger is yelling and screaming at you, you can just smile. You can generate loving kindness. Depending on who they are, you might be able to say something kind, but sometimes with that kind of situation, you might just have to walk away and let them be, right? Because it's not about you. When people are angry, it is not about you. They're going to say it's about you, but it's really not. And if you know that inside of yourself, you're not going to take their stuff on. See? You're not going to take their anger, their resentment into you, because you're going to be saying, oh, that's not about me. That's about them. Something has happened inside of them that's creating this. So I'm going to do me right now. The more you do this, the more you practice it, the better you'll get at it, and the less you will be in suffering. I can promise you that. It works. I'm going to tell you, this works 100% of the time if you do it. But the catch is you have to do it, and you have to do it correctly. You have to be honest and truthful with yourself. You have to not look at someone else and blame them for the emotion you're having inside of you. You have to, think about what you're thinking about. You have to tell yourself the truth. Oh, what am I telling myself? Right? These are things you have to do inside of you. And I'm telling you this, and I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up tonight, because I'm gonna take care of me. Right? I've been back since September, right? September, August, the end of August. Yeah, August. I think it was August 1st. Yeah. So I've been back since August, and I've been pretty much taking care of everybody since August. So Kim is going to take care of Kim now. So I'm going to take a couple weeks off, and I will have meditation tomorrow, and then I'll be off until after Christmas, and we'll start again after Christmas, maybe after the New Year. I'll post and say. So I want you guys, I'm going to give an assignment, okay? Which is why I went through all of this tonight. I'm going to give an assignment for everyone. And hopefully you will do it, because the assignment is not for me. It's for you to look at you, to help you. I've already done this assignment many, many times. So I want you throughout this holiday season, and it can be 1 day, 2 days, it can be, but the more you do it, the more you'll get good at it. So I want you to, number one, pay attention to what you're speaking inside yourself. Make notes. I want you to actually write down what you're speaking to yourself. Write it down. Write it down. And then go through the steps of how to get out of it when you're in a sadness, anger, frustration, hatred, resentment, any of the things that are causing you suffering, the minute you start to feel that suffering, write down, oh, I'm feeling suffering. I'm feeling this. What are you feeling? Write it down. I am feeling sad. I am feeling angry. I am feeling frustrated. Whatever it is, speak the truth inside yourself. I'm not going to look at it. Okay. This is for you. It's not for anybody else. You're going to do this for you. And I'm teaching you how to do this for yourself. So that's what this assignment is about, is how you're going to work through these things for yourself. All right. So you're going to write it down, what's happening, what you're telling yourself. Speak the truth, because it won't work if you don't speak the truth. Okay. So you're going to write down the truth about what you're telling yourself. And then the next thing you're going to say is this a truth? Right? Is this thing that's causing me suffering, is this a truth? Or is it a story I'm telling myself? Right? So that's a number 2. You got to tell yourself, this is what I'm thinking. Now, is it a truth? Is what I'm thinking true? If it's creating suffering, it's not a truth. I'm going to give you that one, right? If it's creating suffering, you're telling yourself a lie about yourself. So then tell yourself the truth. Number 3, tell yourself the truth about yourself. What's the truth about yourself? I'm loving and kind inside myself. See, this is the truth. I'm speaking, this is the truth. So you have to write that down, right? What is causing me the suffering? My thoughts. My thought. I'm giving you the answers to the questions as we go along. My thoughts. So I have to change my thoughts. How do I do that? I have to be in this present moment. What is happening in this present moment? I'm breathing. I'm sitting here. If you're by yourself, I'm sitting here by myself. Good. You're going to have it easier than a lot of people, because if you're with somebody else, you got their emotions and you're trying not to take those on. So you got to speak that. I'm with someone and I'm trying not to take it on their emotions. Tell yourself their emotions are not about me. They're about themselves. They're not about me. I am filled with loving kindness. Go through the Ho'oponopono. I'm sorry that I gave judgment to myself. Please forgive me. Thank you, and I love you. Speak it inside yourself. Know yourself. Heal yourself. So after you do this, right, then you can call me. Then you call me. After you're finished going through it. Now, I'm going to say, if you get to a point where you've been a week and you can't get out of it, I'm going to let you call me then. All right? Because obviously you haven't taken very good notes. All right? So I'm going to let you call me. But I'm going to speak the truth when you call me. So be prepared for that too. I will not speak in untruth. I'm going to speak the truth. I'm going to tell you what it is that you're suffering over and why you're suffering, and that it's you, and you got to stop doing that to yourself, right? So my phone number, 540-455-3173. My email, kimrichards2010@gmail.com. All right? You can text me. You can call me. You can email me when you finished your assignment. And we will meet. I will meet one-on-one with you if you want. Because I am teaching you how to take care of yourself. how to create peace inside yourself. Don't panic. Sometimes when I do this, people panic. Don't panic. It's all right. Okay? It's all right. You can do this. You just do the assignment. That's all you have to do. Do the assignment. Write it down. Know who you are. Know what you're doing. Know what you're telling yourself. Know what you're speaking. Is it good? Is it something that's going to serve? What purpose is it serving what I'm about to speak? Right? What I'm about to speak, what purpose does it serve? Furthermore, if you're about to speak something that isn't going to serve a good purpose, then you're speaking something inside of yourself that's not serving a good purpose. And you need to reword that inside of you. Okay? These are the steps you have to take. And I'm teaching you like I was taught. See? When I sat with the master monks and I would get into my garbage, they'd be done. Right? Time for you to go. See? We're taught here, that's time. Oh, come in, let me take care of it for you. They would be like, go away. You know, when you figured it out, come back. Because only you can do it. Nobody can do it for you. They gave me all the tools I needed. But if I didn't use them, they didn't do me any good. So you have the tools you need. And you can do this. And you will be strong. And you will be at peace. And you will be at balance if you do this. So I will see you tomorrow. And we'll go over some stuff again tomorrow. Who knows what I'll bring on the table tomorrow? I never know. So be at peace. Don't have any kind of suffering inside of you. Love yourself. Be kind to yourself. Tell yourself truth. And I love all of you dearly with all my heart. And I want you to succeed in the peace.